All right. Welcome to another episode on the Unbalanced Pedestal podcast with your host, me, Tina Marie. You know what I mean? How you guys doing today? So you're here and you're watching this because you saw the title. You don't get the deal until you heal. Let me say that one more time. You do not get the deal until you heal. Heal in what's in here, heal what's in here. Now, let's get in straight to this episode because this is going to be something that you definitely want to take notes on, be very attentive, and don't have any distractions. Now, let's get into it. What do I mean by you don't get the deal until you heal? Think about that one. I hope that kind of like hope that kind of marinated. I hope that it kind of like clicked in and made sense, but it's okay if it didn't. This is why I'm here to explain to you. This is why you're here, to figure out like what the heck does Tina mean? I don't get no deal until I heal. Now, my last episode, my last solo cast episode, I talked about, painting walls, right? What is the first step you do to paint a wall, any wall? And you have to prime it. If there are ridges, if there are cracks, if there are nail holes, if there are huge holes, if the surface is textured, it's not smooth, even that you still have to prime the walls. You have to prepare the walls. So this translates into us human beings, right? It translates into whatever it is that you want to do in your life. If you're an independent mother, independent father, if you're a couple watching this, if you're married, whatever your situation is, and whether you have children or not, in order for you to do anything in your life, in order for you to go to the next level, take the next step, go to the next journey into whatever it is you're doing, you have to do what? You have to prime that surface area first before you can create a work of art. Let me say that again for the people who have the volume a little bit too low. You have to prime the surface area before you start your creation, your masterpiece. You cannot build on a rocky foundation. So this is what I'm talking about when I say you have to heal yourself first before you go after what it is that you want. This is, the simple fact. Everyone knows this one. You win the lotto, you come into a lot of money, inheritance. Now, if that person receiving that inheritance, the large sum of money, and they're not financially knowledgeable, they're not financial literate, what happens? They go and give the money to so many people who ask, them for a handout. They go and buy an expensive house, car, whatever it is. And what happens? They come back to the same place they started. They go back to that same neighborhood. They was, living life for a few months, $1 million go by really, really fast. So a lot of people do not have that mindset. They don't have that financial literacy in order to stretch the money, they don't have the mindset to invest the money. They just like, okay, I have money, let me go spend it. So this is a great example of what I'm talking about, healing before you get the deal. what I'm talking about on this podcast, on this particular topic, on this particular episode is in order for you to achieve what it is that you want in your life, it's not just healing the hurt and the pain that you have dealt with in the last few years. This is healing from the pain that's long-term pain, long-term childhood trauma, long-term limiting beliefs, the doubts, fear's first cousin. And if you don't address those issues, anything that comes up in your life, you may, some people look at certain opportunities or experiences as luck, but it all comes down to how consistent you are with your mind. It all comes down to how you are consistent about how you are attracting those outcomes, those experiences that you are seeking. Now, if you are in a frame of mind that is always fearful, that you are always in self-doubt, that you are constantly wondering if this is going to work out, then whatever that you are working towards, whether it's in finances, whether it's in material possessions, whether it's in a new job, a new company, a new business, whatever it is, it's not going to come to you. That deal is not going to come to you because it knows that you are afraid. And it's like, you know what? I'm not going to even stop by. We're just going to do a detour to someone else who is ready for us. And so until you heal what's in here, until you heal those relationships within you, not within you, but until you heal those relationships that you have been avoiding, that's going to hold you back. And I know many of you who are watching this, it's like, I'm not apologizing to so-and-so, or I'm not talking to so-and-so because, but guess what? That blocks a lot of your abundance, a lot of your prosperity. It blocks a lot of your, all of your riches, all of the wealth, not just monetary, but the wealth that's in here. It also blocks part of your health, if you think about it. You know what they say, the bigger the bag, the more books it holds. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can still get the same amount of books plus more if you download the app Audible right onto your phone. You'll get these books plus millions of titles that is available to you straight on your smartphone. So go ahead, click the link in the description box, sign up for a 2-month free trial, cancel anytime. But don't forget, once you become a member, you get 1 free credit every single month. So you can choose any title to any author, whoever you choose to get, and it's free because you're a valuable member. Now let's get back into the episode. A lot of people, because of their relationship dynamics with other people, that there's like a lot of rocky road and it's always stressful and it's toxic. A lot of that gets internalized within you, and it festers and it festers. And you know, like those little moments you have, you're like, I can't stand that person. That's a little bit. And then it grows and it grows and it grows. You know, whether if you like them or not, you don't have to like everybody, and they don't have to like you. And guess what? You should be okay with that. because I'm sure they're okay with that. And if they're not, that's not your problem. It's not your problem. So those little things, those little seeds that you're planting within you of that hatred, that jealousy, that envy, it starts to grow. When you just let things be, okay, say the person did you wrong, you accept that that's who they are, that's who they're going to be. You can't change them. And if they don't acknowledge whatever it is they have done to you, they're stuck in their ways, just let them be. You know what? This is how they were. I forgive them because they had no damn sense. It makes no um it makes no sense for me to try to convince them how much they were wrong or how they wronged me. Because guess what? You're going to spend 5 years plus, even more, trying to get them to see your point of view. And I'm sure most of you who are watching that that doesn't work out. I mean, they have to come to their own realization of what they have done, and you know what? I'm sorry I acted this way. They have to come to you. You know what the story is. They see it as a different way, but it makes no sense to go back and forth with them because you're wasting your time and you're gonna get a lot of gray hairs. So we forgive, we remember what they did because they may try to do it again, or you may see that same type of behavior in someone else. So you're aware of that experience because it may pop up in someone else. So always keep that in mind. Now, once you move past that, you could do that with every relationship, right? And then you would also look at life and take it with a grain of salt, not too much salt. Because you know what happens with too much salt? You put too much salt in food and you can't fix it. We know this. For those who cook, we know that when you put too much salt, that's it, is ruined. You put a little salt. Actually, no, the food has less flavor, right? We know the food is going to have flavor, but put a little bit of salt. Take a little bit of salt from people and their behaviors, because once you, again, internalize their behaviors, why they're acting like this, I don't understand why, I'm such a nice person, or they did me wrong. And again, going back into that same mind frame, if you do not move past that mind frame, that mindset, that frame of mind, you are not going to heal yourself because you're going to be stuck. It's like a hamster on a wheel. You're going to keep going circles and circles and circles. And you are not going to heal that frame of mind that you are constantly on that hamster circle or the hamster wheel. So, like say, for the sake of this conversation and to keep it short, because I tend to run very long. It's say you pass that, right? You take everyone's personalities, their behaviors with a grain of salt. You accept them for who they are. You hang out with them based on if, okay, you know what, I can deal with them, I can handle them, cool, great. And that's one form of healing, right? Because you're not internalizing, you're not taking things personally with this other person or group of people. And this is how you find your community. You pick and choose who you want to be in your space, not letting everyone in. And I also talked about this on a previous podcast. I think it was number 7 or number 8. I can't remember. But it's in my ebook, How to Live Life Boundlessly, where you are the castle. You have remotes surrounded around your castle. You have a drawbridge, and you only let the people in to your castle who are worthy. Who are worthy. They are their VIPs. They your exclusive, guest members, to you. You don't let any riffraff in your in your space, right? So, you talk about, healing those, limiting beliefs, and you have to heal the limiting belief of what you can achieve, your fears. What is it that you are afraid of to accomplish? What is it that you are just, you maybe unconsciously, you're not aware that you keep doing the same old pattern, or you have the same way of thinking? Or what is it that keeps creeping up because it's based on what you have known in the past or what you have heard, but not have experienced for yourself, right? So a lot of the limiting beliefs that we would experience would be from society, from our parents, in those environments growing up. And this is where I love the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. It's a fabulous book. Check that out. That's in my book list that I have. And that's an excellent book because he breaks down exactly our way of thinking. Because the way of our own thinking is not ours. It's from our household when we grew up. So all the fears and your teachers and your professors and your coach and your schoolmates, everyone that you grow up with, all their fears are projected onto you. So you're like, we have everyone else's fears. So you may be a fearless kid growing up, and all of a sudden, everyone's dumping their fears on you. And then, like, you're scared to leave the house. You're scared to dream big. You're scared to live life to your fullest because everyone has told you that you shouldn't do it. That's a bad idea because they have done it and it didn't work for them. But for you, it may work out, it will work out for you. But because they don't want to see you hurt, or the opposite, they don't want to see you achieve. Like, what if you become successful? You know how many people don't talk to the people who make it out of their family? Like, that's a real thing. I can't give any examples right now, but that's a real thing where people just stop talking. They're like, oh, you think you're better than me. You have all this money or you're successful. And it's not all about that. It's people who say that, they are not on your side. Just plain, simple English, they are not on your side. And the people who are there by your side after you've become successful, who have stuck it out with you from the beginning all the way to the end, those are the people who are rooting for you, and they the ones who believe in you, and they should be rooting for you along the way and pushing you and encouraging you and helping you attain resources and give you ideas and all those things. Those are the people that you want to mess with. So going back to the limiting beliefs aspect of this, it's I would definitely say, what is it that you keep playing over and over in your head? Is it that car that you want to buy, that you think that your credit may not be good enough, or you need to have a certain amount of money in the bank or down payment? Like, what is keeping you from that? Have you taken the steps to get to that goal, right? Have you mastered this backtrack? Have you mastered your budget, and for how long? Have you mastered your budget for at least a year, where you have your savings, you know what your household expenses are, you have everything allocated, you have your disposable income, and then you're like, you know what? I can afford this car and insurance and all the repairs that may come along with it. So there's no surprises. I have a rainy day or emergency fund. Like, have you primed yourself to take those steps, right? Because yes, I'm not saying no, it's not to go ahead and get those items, the house, the car, the boat, whatever it is, but have you taken those steps to prepare yourself and not just like, oh, I'm just going to get a car. I'm just going to go get a house without having to budget and to manage what may happen in the beginning. You're proactively setting yourself up for success, not for failure. And this is where, again, you may have done this in the past and it may not have went well as you had thought it would because you didn't set up yourself, you didn't prime your walls correctly or properly in order for you to sustain, to shine beautifully, to have a nice, nice coat on the wall, that satin finish, that glossy finish. So until you do that, until you heal that limiting belief of that I will never own some expensive material possession, it's not going to happen for you until you literally accept that what happened was in the past. We are in the present, and what I do in the present will affect the future. So in the present, we're going to prepare, we're going to prime ourselves, we're going to on this new venture that we are going to do. So anything that we obtain, and this is not, again, that this finances, buying a car, but whatever we are doing, we're going to prep ourselves in order to receive that abundance, receive that prosperity, and receive all the gifts that we have set ourselves up for. We are, we have our hands open, ready to receive because we have put in the work, right? You have to, literally have to just be ready. You have to be ready. Going to childhood trauma, right? Healing from that. What things that you have experienced as a child that that most likely have seeped into your adulthood, right? To present day right now. Were you bullied? Did you have a lot of friends growing up? Did you have, parents that weren't present? Did you suffer from some kind of, abuse, whether it's verbal, physical, sexual? Did you experience lack of boundaries? Did you have someone who was always putting you down? Did you grow up in a toxic environment? So there's so many pieces or areas of childhood trauma that I'm not going to list. And for each of them, you have to really identify what is it, the patterns that I keep repeating. Am I doing these things because is it me? Like, what is it that I'm missing or what is it that I'm needing in my life? That's one thing you have to identify. Am I going into relationships? It could be love, it could be partnership in the business, it could be in communal, it could be in so many different ways, relationships with me, other human beings. What is it? Am I showing myself being too needy? Am I showing myself to be too distant? Am I a person who always seek attention? It's like, what happened in my childhood where I am doing a little bit too much in my adulthood? I see some people in their adulthood. I mean, I see a lot of people in adulthood, but these are people that I've known for, 4 years and plus, where I'm just like, and it's not being judgmental because I recognize what my own are. Like, I become self-aware of what my childhood trauma is. And I've spoken about that on previous episodes. But sometimes I just wonder, why is it that you can't accept one person to have the spotlight for like 5 minutes without you being like, no, look at me. I am the star. Look at me. I'm pay attention to me. And there are adults who do that. Adults, I mean, if children do that already, right? So when you see adults do it, it's like, okay, so what happened in your childhood? And obviously some of those people, you can't address that because they're going to be in denial, and they're going to lash out at you for even pointing their weakness or their flaws out. And so when you realize and you pinpoint what childhood traumas that happen, trauma or traumas, it could be multiple, then it's like, okay, how do I fix this? How do I course correct myself? So when you look at if a person's being too clingy, then it's like, okay, they're clingy because someone in their life growing up wasn't there for them all the time. They're like literally, onto you. They're like literally, I don't want you out of my sight, because they may have a fear of being alone, right? Or, that abandonment, or they may have, this tendency to lash out at people because someone may have made fun of them, in grade school. So they were bullied and teased a lot. So now that they took all of that anger and pain that they never healed from, and they become the aggressor, they become the bully. So that's another thing too, that people who are bullied become the bully in their adulthood, because it's just that reaction. It's what they know. It's like, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not going to take this no more. And so that's what happens. They become that person that they despise all their life. They have those grudges that they never healed from. And so when they have the opportunity, they may be in a senior position, they may be the president of a company, whatever, a higher position. And then they're like, okay, well, I get to bully and push people around because I'm the boss, and they have to listen to me. It's a continuous cycle. But guess what? A lot of those people who do not heal from, the traumas that I have mentioned, there's always going to be this cycle, and they're never going to be happy. They may have the riches, they may have the material possessions, that you see, but in here and in here, they are not happy. And so to be fully happy, to get the full deal out of life, you have to take those traumatic experiences, you have to take your limiting beliefs one by one and work on them one by one. You work on this through journaling, which, I know a lot of people say journal every day. You can journal how often you want. Some people do it every day, a few times a day. For me, I do it where it's unscheduled. So for me, it's just, I don't have like a time frame, but when I journal, it's like, it's very soothing. I let out what I'm thinking, it's like your truth. It's like a diary, basically, when you journal. And, a lot of women journal. Men, I haven't met too many men that have journaled, but I can definitely say that I encourage you to do that, because it gets all of what you're thinking out on paper. It's the same way if you have your own business. You do a brain dump. You have like all these ideas about your business, and you're thinking of ways how to start, to scale, to get more customers, and you write things down. It's the same way with journaling, but you're doing it with what you're feeling in here, what you're thinking, your thoughts. And when you journal, for me personally, I get a lot of clarity from that. I get a lot of clarity. And I'm like, huh, that makes sense. It's kind of like, therapy, self-therapy in a way, if that makes sense to you. But getting a lot of that out and doing, again, working yourself piece by piece in the areas of your childhood trauma and your limiting beliefs will help you clear those roadblocks that you are experiencing within yourself. So once you'll notice and you will feel, when you feel lighter, you feel more aligned. There's nothing, you feel like this bliss, this lightness in you, that you will know, okay, I'm doing something and it's working. Let me continue. And each time you may revert back to a feeling or a habit. The most important thing to do is recognize that you're reverting back. You're like, wait, I'm going backwards. It's like going up a hill in a car. And as soon as you take your foot off the gas, for some cars, at least, like the older cars, you may see that it'll start to roll back a little bit. So that's, you feel that roll back and you're like, oh, wait, no, keep going forward, because you're recognizing, you're being more self-aware of your actions and your behaviors. So you're going to start to do that, and it's going to become more and more automatic. You will have these thoughts that creep in, and you're like, wait, nope. You affirm whatever it is that you're going, they know that is not me. I am blank, 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 blank. I'm not blank, 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 blank. So whatever negative thoughts you're having, ideas, that old mindset, you want to immediately say, no, we're not letting this negative energy, this lower vibration enter. We're not doing it. And, this is something that I feel that is two of the most important things, is limiting beliefs and your childhood trauma. This is not about setting goals. Yes, we all have goals that we want to obtain, but you can't obtain those goals until you really say, I'm ready to tackle the hardest part. I mean, goals are hard or easy depending on how much you work on here and you work on here. The next thing I will leave you with, after those two have been worked out, to the point where you're not feeling any type of negative energies, you're not harboring any feelings, you are essentially, you're just like, I'm carefree. That's essentially, and then you can move on to building what is that you want in your life, whether, to get that deal, whether it's a relationship, to many relationships with your children, your parents, with friends, with, you want to go and do something that's adventurous. Some people may have a fear of travel. Some people have a fear of going in the water, like whatever your fear is, everyone has a fear. I fear that I'm going to drown if I go, up to my knees. They have this fear, or I have a fear of riding on a bicycle, or a fear of riding horses. Whatever that's holding you back is going to keep you in bondage. And it's going to keep you as a slave. Yes, I said the S word. It's going to keep you as a slave. It's like, yes, it's feeding off of your fears, all of that, the doubt, that keeps up. No, I can't do that. I'm not brave enough. I'm not that person. They're better than me. No, until you realize and accept that I can do it. And if I do it and I look silly doing it, oh well. The next thing you do after that, just laugh at yourself. As you're having fun in the process is all that matters. If you want to go ahead and jump off a cliff, you know, into the deep water. If you have a fear of heights, I'm not saying you should do that because I don't know how that works out. I love jumping off heights. It's, love the adrenaline, but again, find what's right for you to conquer your fears little by little, step by step every day. And just recognize anytime doubt comes into your mind, that you recognize and you're self-aware that, okay, no, we're not going to let you enter this mental cavity that we have primed, that we are priming for to get our deal. And that's what's all that matters. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and share this out for someone that you know in your life that needs a little push into what they're doing in life, because life is not easy. I can definitely say life is not easy, and it's always going to be a challenge. Life is all about experiences. It's about learning from your mistakes, learning from other people's mistakes, and how you can take all of that you have learned and make it your own and make it better. So you can teach the younger generation on getting the blueprint of how to navigate, and they can take what you have learned, that blueprint, and they can make it their own. And then they can teach their children, your grands, and then the great grands, and so on and so forth. So again, thank you for watching this episode on the Unbalanced Pedestal podcast. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to make sure you get notified of all new episodes.